It's being called Anglo Angst, though that doesn't mean the feelings are restricted to Anglophones.
This so-called Anglo Angst touches virtually every Quebecer. Investors are reluctant to commit large sums to the province, and that costs jobs. As part of a special report on the post-referendum blues, Pulse News commissioned a survey of business leaders across Canada. During the last week of January, Dun & Bradstreet conducted interviews with 542 business people. The survey shows that sufferers of Anglo Angst are not the only ones thinking about a move. 5% of firms based outside Quebec plan to move their Quebec operations within the next 24 months. 4% of Quebec-based companies plan to leave. If another referendum produces a yes vote, 11% of companies operating here will leave. 13% are undecided and were unable to say if they will stay or leave.
Now, everyone in Quebec, but especially Montrealers, are wondering about the future. The political uncertainty has devastated the city. In part one of this series, Cynthia Drummond looks at who's planning to leave and who's working very hard to keep them here.
While a small political elite debates the vagaries of sovereignty, renewed federalism, and partition, the province's economy languishes, and the once powerful city of Montreal is in an unmistakable decline. Montreal has slid into economic limbo, with nothing except warmer weather to look forward to. It's a mood that transcends glib labels like Anglo Angst. Anglophones and Francophones, all Montrealers, feel it and wonder what can be done to stop it.
It's a sad city since, I would say, 10 years.
Montreal has paid an enormous price over the last several decades, frankly. I think it's been the principal victim of the political uncertainty in Quebec.
It's gone beyond just businesses and commercial arteries. The mood of the people is more and more one of despair.
No referendum until at least 1997 means 2 more years of political uncertainty, and political uncertainty results in 2 things: little or no investment capital coming in and a steady flow of capital out. And when that starts affecting people directly, they, Anglophones and Francophones, start thinking about leaving. Meet Philip de Mosler, bilingual Francophone, civil engineer, family man. He returned from a contract in Bosnia to find no major construction projects in Montreal and therefore no jobs. Philip's is an increasingly common story, a real consequence of years of disruptive politics.
I was hoping to stay in the beginning, but it's, you know, if I have a job this week here in Montreal, I'll stay. Yeah. If I have one in Vancouver next week, I'll go.
Remember the Audrey Morris modeling agency? Kevin Johnson managed it. Remember when big companies like Eaton's and the Bay did ad campaigns in Montreal? Most of it is now done in Toronto. Despite the brave face he puts on, Kevin, a bilingual native Montrealer, worries about finding a job.
It's fine to say at gatherings, it obviously comes up. Bing, you know, we're out of here. I've had it. Where are you going to go? Number 1. Number 2, is it going to be better? Where do you go?
Other cities are ready to provide people like Philip and Kevin with the answer. Saskatoon Mayor Henry Day was in town recently talking privately with business people about the advantages of moving there. Even small cities like Alexandria, just across the Ontario border, are coming to Montreal to talk up their town.
We're not here really to entice people to leave Montreal, leave Quebec. We're basically here to show why it is, if you're planning on moving outside of Quebec or expanding your manufacturing facilities, we're here to show why it is that you should consider moving to Alexandria.
But while the Chamber of Commerce may deny any opportunism, after all, business is business.
They heard that you had a little vote in Quebec. I think it was called a referendum. And a lot of people were looking at Toronto as a place to perhaps expand their businesses. And we thought we'd like you to have a look at Alexandria.
We have a customs packaging plant here in Pointe Claire, and since the referendum, my partner and I basically have made up our minds to move a portion of our business to some other locations.
Bilingual, Montreal-born, and Montreal-educated, Lawyer Larry Behar moved to Florida in 1977, shortly after the election of the Parti Québécois. He runs a booming immigration practice in Florida and returns to Montreal several times a year to hold seminars for hundreds of Quebecers, Francophones as well as Anglophones, who see more opportunities in the United States than anywhere in Canada.
We represent a great deal of Francophones who are not motored by any linguistic or cultural issues, but who are motored more by economic opportunities that they are coming to the United States. This morning, we signed on a client who has a major franchise here in Quebec, and they are looking to expand in Florida.
Is anybody trying to turn things around? Mayor Pierre Bourque has surrounded himself with business leaders. He's touting a new project to revitalize St. Catherine Street. He's even gone begging for help in Ottawa. And Premier Lucien Bouchard has appointed Serge Ménard minister responsible for Montreal. And like mushrooms after a really good rain, new groups are forming all the time to save Montreal, to save Canada, and to try to keep people from leaving. These people are members of the Stay Committee, the group formed last November. Its goal is to unite Montrealers to work to keep Quebec in Canada and keep people from leaving.
There has to be, I think, a message to counteract the rather gloomy and defeatist views that are going around today.
Everyone has this feeling of, I don't want to go, but I feel I have to go. If you can turn that around and make people feel like you don't have to go, these are all the reasons why you can stay, and have them believe that, then we've won the battle.
Psychologist Barbara Wainrib, who polled people before and after the referendum, says we're still traumatized. Her advice, take action, like the members of the Stay Committee.
It's simply a matter of reframing and focusing. Focus on what there is here. Focus on what you would be losing if you had to leave here, and try and enjoy what we've got.
Grassroots activism may help, but people say they're also waiting to see some political leadership.
I think I share a lot of the unease that people in general, and from all spectrums on whatever this national issue may be or separatism issue may be, that somehow the folks to whom we've sort of delegated the leadership of the issue aren't leading. They're dithering.
It's strange. You have those people from Ottawa who are always talking about the Constitution, another referendum, and the partitions of Quebec. We don't talk about that. We're fed up. We don't want to hear about that for at least 5 years. Let's try to do something and pay our credit card.
Tomorrow in Part 2, Montrealers share their thoughts and feelings with each other and with us. Cynthia Drummond, Pulse News.
Okay, a big double bill at Metropolis.